Okay, so there is some harder symmetry out there. Okay, and that is when you are dealing with pi's on 2's. So far everything we've been doing, we've been going around to pi or 2 pi and adding on or taking off an angle. This one we are going to pi on 2 or 3 pi on 2 and taking or adding an angle. Okay, so in this question, sine pi on 2 plus beta. Okay, so we've gone to pi on 2 and we've added in beta, which gets us this triangle. So because we started from pi on 2 and took our angle, that's where our right angle is. And that's our beta triangle. I've been told that cos of my beta triangle in my first quadrant is over here. So what I need you to see is that those two triangles are the same. Cos of beta is 0.91. So I know the x length of my beta triangle. But when I turn that triangle around, that is now my y length. So what was cos is now sine. And that's all that's happened. So if I want sine of pi on 2 plus beta, well, I've now flicked him around into the next quadrant, and I am talking about this height, which is 0.91 because we've turned our triangle. So pi on 2 plus, we are at pi on 2 and plus, so we're in sine quadrant, so we know it's a positive, and this bit, because we're at pi on 2, it now changes. It now is flicking it around and saying, well, this sine angle, now that I've gone pi on 2 plus, is equal to my beta, my cos of beta. So that's cos of beta. So my answer is 0.91. Alright, this is the one that takes a bit to get in your head, so let's go again. Okay, so here's my axes. 3 pi on 2. So because I'm going from my 3 pi on 2, because it's an on 2, I know my answer is going to switch from a sine to a cos. Alright, so then 3 pi on 2 minus beta. So this is my new triangle. So 3 pi on 2 minus tells me I am in the tan quadrant, which means my answer is negative. I'm thinking about the sine bit when I'm talking about which quadrant I'm in. And then it's just beta. So it's negative 0.91. That's it. That's all that's happening. Okay, we've got a pi on 2, which tells me I'm changing from cos to sine. My angle is going to stay the same, so it's going to be sine of alpha. I just need to figure out if it's going to be positive or negative. So pi on 2 minus alpha gets me in here, which is my all quadrant. So I know it's going to be positive. So it's just positive 0.32. Okay, cos of 3 pi on 2. 3 pi on 2 is here. Adding alpha. So I am in the cos quadrant. So cos becomes sine, but it's positive because of that. But now it's sine of alpha, 0.32. Okay, with tan, what happens is, so let's look at the tan triangle. So if I've been given that tan of theta equals 0.4, well, that's the same as saying 4 on 10, isn't it? It's going to make it easier because we know tan is opposite on adjacent. So I know this is 4 and this is 10. So if I take my triangle and turn him, so I've now gone pi on 2 plus theta, which puts him in here. This is the same triangle, but what was cos is now sine, and what was sine is now cos. So if I'm finding tan at that point with that angle, I need to flip it. And that's basically all I have to do. If I know tan of theta equals 4 on 10, as soon as I have this on 2 bit, I know I'm going to flip it. So it's going to be 10 on 4. Because what was, if I redraw this triangle down here, what was my opposite is now my adjacent. What was my adjacent is now my opposite. So I've flipped him. And because we're in the cos quadrant, it is negative. Alright, I know they're a bit harder to get in your head, but they're the chapter for these ones.